what was your big break as, in front of the camera talent on social media?
Well, after I wrote that movie and produced it, at the final hours, Nico was like, I think you should play the guy. So I was also in that movie. So that's the first time I felt like something was happening, because I got recognized a few times. They were like, oh, you're the guy from Nico's movie, which was really cool. But the first, I would say my actual big break, or at least my medium break, that's what we'll go with.
Medium break.
So the movie was the small break.
Okay.
The Keep the Meter Running was my medium break, which again was an idea for a series or a show on TikTok that I had in my pocket for a long time. And it was essentially to hang out with cab drivers and do whatever they wanted to do for the day. And my friend Adam was like, I'll produce that for you. I said, sounds good. So we went out, and on day one, we went out without a plan. We had 2 cameramen. Adam was one of them, and we held a cab, and he said no. And then we held another cab, and he said no. And we held another cab, and he said no. And we did that about 20 times. I think we actually moved from Brooklyn to Manhattan to get a cab because we were failing. It was rainy. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I think that this is a bad idea now. But then some guy said yes. And the minute I got in the car, I said, take me to your favorite place and keep the meter running, which was off the cuff. And then while we were shooting the episode, I had this moment where I was like, I think that this is going to be a huge hit. And
it's like reverse Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yeah.
For all you 90s kids out there. HBO. Have you seen it? Okay.
Still haven't seen it. I know it takes place in a cab.
Okay.
But I thought it was a game show.
No. This was different. This was where they had like a cab driver was like a documentarian, and they had like a camera, and they would just basically pick up people that are all like it was HBO in the 90s. So they were either like super like messed up on drugs, or they were like very alternative, and like giving them like they start like giving, it was like a confessional. It was
cool.
like Taxi Cab Confessions. It was like being in like, and then talking about their stories, but they only probably just aired the crazy ones.
Wow.
So it was, instead of your one is a taxi driver telling the story.
Yeah.
This was the writer telling the story.
That's cool. I should probably watch an episode. I have this thing where I don't watch it, with the exception of After Hours. I don't, because I didn't know what I was doing. I don't really have references, like when I make things.
No.
I try not to make a mood board or have references.
Just from your own head?
Yeah. I try not to like be like, oh, it's like this, but this.
Yeah.
It's the old startup problem of like, it's Uber for dog walkers. I don't want to do that. So I don't really do that at all. But that, that thing, we put up the episode. I turned my phone off because I was like, I can't deal with another failure. Literally. I was like, I don't want to watch it. Like, I don't want to watch it flop. And then Adam's texting me like 100,000 views. 10 minutes later, 400,000 views. An hour later, 600,000 views. And then the next morning, 2 million views. And I was like, holy shit, that actually worked.
And you're just throwing this up on YouTube?
On TikTok.
On TikTok, okay.
Yeah. I didn't even put it on YouTube or Instagram at the time. I was just like focused on TikTok. And the reason I realized, the way I realized it was really a hit is when I went to the Bodega that day, the day after the video came out, and the Bodega guy recognized me from the video. And I go, wow, because that's the audience. Like, real people are the audience.
You're Bodega famous. That's a big deal.
Bodega famous, taxi famous, street famous. That's the people. Like, I'm not making a show so that my peers can watch the show. I'm making a show because I want people to watch the show. Normal, good people. And when the Bodega guy recognized me, I was like, this is a big deal.
What do you think about, what was it about that video that took off?
I mean, I just think it was a novel concept. No one had ever seen it before. It's a universal experience. Everyone's taken a cab. It's a universal experience that you've had a moment with a cab driver, whether that's a good moment or a bad moment. Most of them are good, honestly. So many stories pour in being like, I met this taxi driver in Austin. Oh, I was in Pakistan. This taxi driver took me to the best food, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a universal experience. And it was just so, like, mundane, when the internet is so like in your face, like Mr. Beast, who does his thing and he does it really well. But I didn't end the episode with like, and now I'm going to pay off your mortgage. Like, it was literally just like, tell me your story. Cool, interesting. You know, let's go eat some food, blah, blah, blah. And there were funny moments in it, but it wasn't about the theatrics of like solving his world's problems or like, you know, impressing the audience with fireworks. Like, it was just a thing. And I think that is what, like, it felt relatable. And I think not in the relatable way, like we need to make relatable content that you see on a brand's deck for ideas.
Yeah, you're not pandering. You just want to hear the
it
guy's
just
story.
was.
And you're not trying to be the hero either. You just want to hear his story. You're listening.
I just want to be around. And that show was that is what I would say, like, and then there was a Vanity Fair article based on that. That was my first real press that I felt really proud of.
On one video?
No, we had done like, I think at 4 at that point. Okay. But that's not a lot.
No.
You know, but we got Vanity Fair, we got Insider, we got I don't remember, there was the New York Post. We got like a lot of good press. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the first time in my life that I felt validated and recognized as a comedian. You know, it finally had happened. Like, of course, being in Tribeca was like there was no award, but I felt like I had an Oscar. Mm-hmm. But then being recognized by the press is, I think, another step towards essentially manifesting a reality, because you're not saying you're a comedian. The headline says you're a comedian. Which I think a lot of people would say, like, you don't need validation from anyone. Personally, I do. Like, that's my own personal problem.
You can drop the actual. You're not an actual comedian.
No, aspiring. Drop the aspiring. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, turn from aspiring to actual.
Yeah, because it said this New York comedian spent $4,000 on cabs or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, you know. And then the Vanity Fair article compared me to Anthony Bourdain, which was really amazing. So that was the moment where I was like, you know, I felt like I made it. At least I made it to the other side. You know what I mean? I felt like I had completed the metamorphosis. Of course, the money wasn't there. You know, of course, like, there was still a long way to go, but it felt like the metamorphosis was complete. And I felt really whole. And that's honestly when I feel like I stepped into the life that I've always wanted, but had suppressed for so long because I was in pursuit of money, literally. Because at the time, like, when I was an entrepreneur and a businessman, I wasn't even in pursuit of validation or recognition. I was simply in pursuit of money. So, but this is the first time that I felt like I found what I'm looking for, and I found what I'm looking to do. And I felt like I could do it probably for the rest of my life if I wanted to.
How does that compare, getting that validation in the press as a comedian versus like your biggest payday as an entrepreneur?
You know, money's nice. There was never a big payday as an entrepreneur.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm sure if I had made $2 million or something, which is not even that much money anymore, if I had made, I mean, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But it's not these days. Yeah. In these times, it's a modest living.
It's like a carton of eggs these days.
Yeah. That's how much it costs. $2 million for 24.
That's it for
Costco. But I don't know. Like, in terms of validation, I think the press is still more important. The money is great. I would love both.
Love it. So now you're an actual comedian, and what did you start doing? Did that change your content? Does that change how you're doing things, or did you keep on doing the taxi cab series?
At that point, I leaned into
keep the meter running. That was called.
Yeah. I kept on keeping the meter running for about 20 episodes.
Okay.
And realized that, you know, the next step of that show specifically is to do long form. And I didn't know how I wanted to do long form. I didn't know if I wanted to be on TV. I didn't know if I wanted to be on YouTube. I didn't know if I wanted to be some sort of hybrid. But I was like, the short form's great. But one of the questions that was always on those videos is, where can I watch the full thing? And I'm like, there is no full thing.
Yeah, this is it. You're seeing it all.
Yeah, exactly. And so I also was like, there should be a full thing. Like, this does feel a little bit incomplete.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to put this on ice for a second and develop it into a long form series and figure out, you know, whether it lives on TV or whether it lives on YouTube. I'm not sure yet. And also the show was getting expensive. I mean, it cost like $2,000 to $3,000 per episode. Thank God I was a consultant, because I was able to waste that money.
Yeah, and you weren't making money on TikTok, or not
No.
much money.
No, I wasn't making any money. So everything was essentially self-funded and subsidized by Kareem Rahma Inc.
You were taking some very expensive cab rides.
I mean, I was literally paying whatever the meter was. Yeah. Sometimes it was $700.
Okay.
But I was like, this is not a sustainable business model, but I have a proven format. I have a great idea. I can pick this up. I'm the guy. You can try to replicate it, but I'm the guy. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, I was like, I do believe that this is the right path. Like short form, unscripted, vertical video content is for me.
Okay.
That is what I'm good at. And I love saying unscripted, short form, vertical video content.
It's a tongue twister.
I just think it's really funny to say.
It's like a vocal warm up. Get you going.
People are like, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "I make unscripted, short form, viral video format, vertical video." Like I like saying it. I think it's hilarious. But I was like, that is the future of, I think, entertainment as a whole.